Hi, I am Brittany, and I will guide you through this presentation. This presentation investigates the impact of grid impedance on the stability of active front-end inverters under voltage dips and various reactive power setpoint scenarios. The analysis was performed using a SimScape model based on the full parallelization of 4 active front-end inverters. As shown in the picture, the 4 inverters are connected on the DC side to a common DC bus, while on the AC side to a grid voltage source. The grid voltage source is moreover composed by a transformer followed by a variable impedance. The variable impedance emulates the equivalent impedance of a grid voltage source with a different scenario of short-circuit current levels. The evaluation of the active front-end inverter control stability under different values of grid impedance will be performed by assessing the inverter behavior during the following operating conditions: unsymmetrical voltage dip, positive reactive current injection, and negative reactive current injection. As shown in the figure, the voltage dip upstream of the transformer originates from a single phase to ground fault. The effect of this fault, as seen downstream of the transformer, is also illustrated. The single-phase fault is converted into a two-phase fault. Nevertheless, this voltage dip represents one of the most critical scenarios with respect to reactive current compensation and DC link voltage stability. Indeed, an unsymmetrical voltage dip gives rise to a double-frequency power oscillation at the grid inverter interface, which adversely affects the overall control stability. Following the onset of the unsymmetrical voltage dip, the grid voltage will remain stable up to the end of the test. 2 successive reactive current setpoint steps are applied. The set points are calculated to achieve a fundamental frequency power factor of 0.95 and minus 0.95 respectively. During reactive current injection, the output current must remain undistorted and within the rated bounds. It is important to note that additional harmonic analysis has been carried out to confirm the absence of any significant distortion or anomalous behavior during reactive current injection, as well as during unitary power factor condition. The simulation results are now presented and discussed. The cases under examination are parametrized by the short-circuit ratio, defined as the number of times the rated current is contained in the prospective short-circuit current. The values considered are 20, 6, 4, and 3. Consequently, 4 simulation runs are shown, each corresponding to a progressively higher line impedance. This allows a direct visual assessment of how increasing grid impedance affects control stability under an asymmetrical voltage dip and across the 2 reactive current set points. This first simulation corresponds to the strong grid scenario, with a short-circuit ratio of 20. As can be seen, the inverter behaves well under all tested conditions. Current waveforms are clean and undistorted, and no instability is observed. This represents the baseline case. Here, the response to the voltage dip is shown. Moving to the second case, short-circuit ratio of 6. Grid impedance is now noticeably higher, yet the inverter still performs well. Waveforms are clean. Reactive current tracking is accurate. No critical behavior is observed at this operating point. Moving to the third case, short-circuit ratio of 4. We are now in genuinely weak grid territory. Despite the substantially higher line impedance, the inverter continues to perform well. Waveforms remain clean, reactive current tracking is accurate. No critical behavior is observed. However, as we will see in the next case, this will not hold indefinitely. Moving to the fourth and final case, short circuit ratio of 3. This is the weakest grid condition examined. Here, the behavior changes noticeably. Although the system remains stable throughout, the voltage dip triggers visible distortion in the current waveforms. The injected reactive current is no longer purely fundamental. The four power components show clear oscillations, indicating that the control is operating under significant stress. Once the dip clears, however, the system recovers cleanly and stability is fully restored. To summarize, the simulations demonstrate that the active front-end inverter control architecture is robust for short-circuit ratios down to 4. At a ratio of 3, transient distortion appears during the voltage dip, yet the system recovers cleanly once the fault clears. Under all steady-state conditions, active and reactive power tracking remains accurate and stable. Overall, the control architecture proves well-suited for grid ancillary service provision across a wide range of grid impedance conditions.